My brother's son threw my birthday cake on the floor and said, "Eat it off the ground." I didn't say a word. That evening, Mom texted, "We've chosen to sever all contact. Stay away forever." My brother liked it. I replied, "Removing my name from every loan tomorrow." By midnight, the group chat flooded. 53 missed calls. My name is Emily. I'm 33. The older sister, a long-haul truck driver who knows every diner off I-80 by the smell of the fryer. I sleep in a cab more than I sleep in a bed. I keep a thermos of black coffee, a paper atlas in the glove box, and a tiny notebook where I write miles, fuel, and little reminders like call Tire Place in Omaha. In my family, I'm the mover, the fixer, the one with big shoulders. That sounds flattering until you realize it means mule. Mom says I was born serious. Dad used to brag that I could back a trailer into a space the size of a shoebox. My little brother Ethan is the opposite. Flashy, loud, allergic to boring. He makes messes and tells stories about the messes like they're adventures. People laugh. Mom says that's our golden boy. I'm the background. If a table needs to be carried, I carry it. If a bill needs a name, it's mine. This year, my birthday landed on a Saturday between runs. I had a 34-hour reset, so Mom insisted, "You can rest here, honey," which meant I'd be driving out to the suburbs instead of napping in the sleeper. I didn't argue. I brought a store cake because things are tight and Ethan forgot his wallet. I also brought paper plates because I always bring the thing that everyone forgets. Inside the house, it smelled like lemon cleaner and roast chicken. A plastic tablecloth with balloons was taped to the dining table. Ethan arrived late, wearing sunglasses indoors, carrying nothing, and started a story about networking at a bar. His son Max, 5, ran around in socks with dinosaurs. I bought those socks last Christmas. He loves them. We did the song. I blew out the candles. I cut slices. I handed plates. The last piece had my name in blue frosting. I held it out for Max. "Happy birthday, buddy," I said. He looked at Ethan for a cue. Ethan smirked. Max took the plate in both hands. He turned it over like a pancake and dropped the cake. Spatter. Frosting on the tile, on my boot, on the dog's ear. Max giggled. Ethan laughed harder. "Eat it off the ground," Max said, bright and proud, like he'd nailed the line. I didn't say a word. I stared at the mess. Mom gasped and then did the tiny laugh she does when she doesn't want conflict. Dad grunted something that meant nothing. Ethan shrugged. "Relax, he's joking." It wasn't the cake. It was the permission. It was the look in Ethan's eyes. Testing, daring. The same look I've seen when he asks for a tiny favor that turns into a monthly payment. I grabbed a roll of paper towels from the counter, knelt, and cleaned the floor. The dog tried to help. I wiped my boot. I stood up, rinsed my hands, and said, "It's fine." "See," Ethan told Max. "Aunt Emily doesn't mind." Everyone moved on. Chicken, potatoes, nothing conversation. But something in my head clicked like a ratchet. Tight, one notch closer. When I put my jacket on to leave, Max waved. "Bye, Aunt. Sorry." His eyes were big. He's 5. He only repeats what he hears. "It's fine," I said again, and felt the word taste like metal. I drove back to the city with sugar drying on my boot. I parked the rig at the yard, climbed the ladder to the cab, and sat on the edge of the bunk. I looked at my hands. They were steady. The cab was quiet. It smelled like diesel, old coffee, and the pine tree air freshener I keep because it reminds me of the only place I ever rested as a kid. The truck with Dad, engine ticking, windows cracked. That night, after I showered at the terminal and microwaved noodles in the lounge, I didn't know that Mom would text a sentence so formal it sounded like a letter from HR. I didn't know Ethan would tap a heart next to it, like a stamp. I didn't know my reply would light the family group chat like a blown transformer. I only knew the floor was clean, and I was tired of being the mop. People always want the ending. They want the screenshot, the big line, the explosion. But it's never one explosion. It's years of small leaks. I started driving at 21. Local runs at first. By 25, I was doing long hauls. Me, a sleeper cab, miles clicking like a metronome. The money isn't movie money, but it's steady. You get good at making numbers line up. Fuel per diem, motel sometimes, repairs, tires, grown-up stuff, boring stuff, my favorite kind. Ethan hated boring. He bounced between projects, a smoothie truck, a t-shirt brand, a crypto thing that ate his rent. Mom called them ventures. Dad called them rough patches. I called them my problem. The minute anyone said, your credit is better. First it was his car, no down payment, bad history. Dealer needed a co-signer. Mom called me while I was outside a warehouse in Des Moines at 6 a.m. Just sign, she said. He'll pay. I was 26, half asleep, standing in a neon vest, holding a styrofoam cup. I signed. Ethan missed the second payment. The bank called me. I paid it so mine wouldn't get hit. Then it was a business card just for gas and supplies. Ethan said, I'll manage it. He didn't. Late fees stacked like pallets. I didn't see the statements until they were read and loud. Mom cried, We'll make it right. Nothing got made right. I called and got my name removed. Couldn't. It was joint. I closed it to new charges and started paying it down while he kept saying he was between deposits. Then Dad's knee went bad. The hospital wanted a deposit. Time sensitive. I don't regret that one. I wired the cash. Dad cried. You saved me, daughter. But years later, when I bring up any debt, someone always says, after everything we did for you, and I want to ask what everything was besides groceries and school and yelling at me to mow the lawn. By 30, my name was welded to 3 things. Ethan's car loan, refinanced once to lower his payment that I still ended up covering. A store card he opened in my face because they had a deal. He charged a TV for the living room. We'll both use it at Mom's house, where I don't live, and a line of credit for inventory when the t-shirts were about to pop. The shirts never popped. The line did. Meanwhile, I drove nights, storms, mountain grades. I learned to nap in parking lots between reefer alarms. I learned which truck stops had decent showers and which ones smelled like wet socks. I skipped birthdays and holidays because freight doesn't care about holidays. When I did show up, I brought meat from a good place and a cake. And I fixed Mom's squeaky door, and I changed a bulb, and I let Ethan talk over me. We replayed the same scene. I provide. He performs. Mom beams at brightness. Every ask came with a pretty bow. It's just temporary. You're the only one we trust. You know we do it for you. The bow came off when I said no. I didn't say no often. Whenever I tried, Mom put a hand on her chest like the idea broke her rib. Family helps family, she'd say, which always meant me pushing the cart uphill while Ethan skated behind, hanging onto the handle. The year before the cake, Ethan's smoothie truck 2.0 needed a permit. He forgot a fee. Late penalties hit. He called at 10:08 a.m. while I was parked outside a warehouse in Bakersfield with the reefer purring and a clock ticking toward hours of service limits. I need $1,200 by morning or they cancel the spot. I'll pay you Friday. I don't have service Friday, I said. I'm in Wyoming. Just put it on the card. I'll handle it. The card was joint. There was no I'll handle it. There was me hearing the future in his voice. I sent it. Friday came and went. The next Friday came and went. The penalty showed up anyway because he'd already been late before he called me. Max was born during that mess. I held him in the hospital while Ethan made a video for Instagram. Welcome to the world, little king. He panned the camera to me and said, This is the woman who will teach you to change a tire. I smiled and kept it in. I wanted to say, This is the woman who pays for the tires you pop. As Max grew, so did Ethan's bills. He loved gear. New stroller, top of the line, then a gaming chair, then a phone for business. He'd slip and say, Put it on our card, like my name wasn't welded to his impulse. I'd protest. He'd sulk. Mom would call. Please, Emily, your brother is trying. I know exactly how he is. He knows how he is too. He's a man who treats trying like currency and expects change. There were small humiliations. Ethan joking at dinner about Emily and her little spreadsheets. Mom giggling. She likes to keep lists. The time Ethan borrowed my GPS because phone signals are for peasants and returned it sticky with soda. The time he used my fuel card at a gas station because he left his wallet, which triggered a fraud alert during a run, and had me on the phone with dispatch at 3 a.m., explaining why my fuel showed up in a town I wasn't in. I started writing down every ask with dates. April 4th, $250 for permit late fee. May 19th, $480 inventory emergency. June 2nd, $90 can't get Max's meds till Friday. I sent that one with no questions. June 30th, $310. I'll Venmo you tonight. He didn't. Numbers don't have feelings, but mine started to carry emotions like bricks. On the road, you learn to pay attention to small signs, a vibration before a blowout, a smell before a belt snaps. Family has signs too, little things that tell you a breakdown is near. The cake wasn't a breakdown. It was a siren test. We all heard it. We all kept eating chicken like nothing was burning. That night, parked at the yard, my phone buzzed at 9:47 p.m. Mom's text landed like a formal memo. We've chosen to sever all contact. Stay away forever. No context, no preface, just a verdict. I could see the fingerprints on it. Ethan writes in drama. Mom copies his voice. A second later, Ethan liked the message. A little red heart next to forever. Cute. I typed a reply and erased it. Typed another. Erased. I paced in the dim lounge next to a popcorn machine that never works. The words that settled weren't a threat. They were a plan I'd been building quietly for months, too scared to say out loud. Removing my name from every loan tomorrow. I sent it. I set my phone face down. I made instant coffee. I didn't turn the phone over when it started buzzing. I watched the clock tick toward midnight while the screen lit up like a beacon I refused to see. At 12:54 a.m., curiosity won. I flipped it. The group chat was on fire. 53 missed calls. The same numbers over and over. Answer from Mom. What does that mean? From Dad. From Ethan. You can't. Then you won't. Then you better not. Then a voice memo I didn't listen to. I put the phone back down. The cab hummed. I pulled the curtain. I slept like someone had quietly moved a pallet off my chest. Banks smell like paper and tired coffee. I walked in at 8:59 a.m. with my folder. I'd built it on breaks at truck stops, printouts, contract numbers, policies I'd read. While waiting for docs, I asked for a specialist. A woman named Carla sat me down. How can I help? She said. I need to start removal wherever the policy allows, I said. Cosigner, guarantor, joint. I know the rules. I'm here to follow them. She nodded. We'll go one by one. We did the car loan. I could request removal, but Ethan would have to qualify on his own or get a substitute cosigner. The line of credit. I could revoke the guarantee with written notice, which would trigger a review and freeze increases. The joint store card. I could close it to new charges and set a payoff plan. I initialed. I signed. Carla stamped. Every stamp sounded like a door latch. My phone vibrated nonstop. I let it. Carla slid me copies. You're doing the right thing, she said, in a voice like an old bridge that's seen floods. I left the bank and drove to my parents' house because I knew the show would be there. I parked on the street. Mom's car. Dad's truck. Ethan's hatchback with a parking ticket under the wiper. Mom opened the door before I knocked. Inside, the TV was off for once. Dad sat clenched. Ethan paced with his phone in his hand like it was a weapon. Explain yourself, Mom said. I followed policy, I said. I'm removing myself from situations I never should have been in. Ethan laughed. Over a cake. You're soft. This isn't about cake, I said. And I'm not soft. I'm done. Dad tried reasonable. Emily, be practical. If I step away, his credit is his, I said. Like mine is mine. Mom's eyes sharpened. We raised you better than this. You raised me to work, I said. I do. You raised me to fix. I did. You turned that into my job title. Ethan pointed at me. You loved it, being the hero. No, I said. I love quiet. Helping was the only way to get some. He stepped closer. Undo it. No. He tried the line that used to hook me. Max will suffer. I looked at him. Your son will learn from what you do, not from what I pay. Silence stretched. You could hear the clock, the refrigerator, a car passing. Mom went for the jugular. If you walk away, don't come back. I took a breath. My voice stayed flat, steady, the way it gets when I'm backing a trailer in rain. You told me last night to stay away forever. That was emotion, she snapped. You knew what I meant. I know what you wrote, I said. I believed you. Ethan held out his phone like a mirror. You think anyone's going to clap for you? Wow. Emily said no for once. You'll come crawling back when you need us. I don't need your approval, I said. I need my name back. I felt the moment arrive, like when the road levels after a long climb. I looked at each of them. My hands were loose at my sides. My voice didn't rise. This isn't about revenge, I said. This is about closure. Ethan blinked. Mom frowned. Dad's jaw moved like he was chewing a word. Closure means no more co-signing, no more emergency transfers, no more joint anything, I said. If you try to add me to something, I'll dispute it. If a company calls, I'll refer them to you. If you text me at 1 a.m. about a bill due at 8, I won't answer. That's the whole policy. You're heartless, Mom said like a stamp. I'm tired, I said, and done. I turned to leave. If you walk out that door, don't expect to be welcome back, she said. I paused, not dramatic, just to put on my boots. You told me to stay away forever, I said calm. I'm finally listening. The first week was paperwork and quiet. I changed passwords, I pulled my credit report and circled the bruises like a mechanic marking dents. I made calls on my 30-minute breaks. I faxed forms at truck stops that still have fax machines. I learned which hold music is the worst. Store card by a mile. I kept driving. Freight doesn't pause for feelings. Mom's texts came in waves. Day 1. You're making a mistake. Day 2. We can fix this if you apologize. Day 3. Max cried for you. Day 4. A photo of Max holding a crayon drawing. He drew a truck. He said, "It's yours." Day 5. Call me now. Day 6. Your father isn't sleeping. Day 7. Silence. Ethan alternated between threats and jokes. Bank says you can't, Em. Be real. Then, okay, serious. Call me. Then, Max asked why you hate him. Then, you owe us. LOL. You'll fold. He sent a voice memo at 2:11 a.m. I was on I-70. Rain, wipers slapping. I didn't play it. I pictured his tone anyway. Smug, then wounded, then smug again. Dad called from a number I didn't know. I let it go to voicemail while fueling at a Love's. His voice was rough. Emily, I don't know what to say. Your mother is well. I get it more than you think. Just don't let it go so far you can't come back. He hung up like the phone burned him. Work felt different. My cab felt bigger. I cleaned the dash with a little pack of wipes. I made my bed in the sleeper, tight corners. I started eating better because the churn in my stomach finally stopped. Eggs and toast at sunrise. A salad in Nebraska that didn't taste like punishment. I slept more than 5 hours at a time. My logbook looked normal instead of chaotic. On a reset in Cheyenne, I sat at a truck stop counter with a plate of meatloaf and a waitress who called everyone honey. An old guy with a faded cap asked what I drove. We talked gear ratios and mountain passes. It felt human in a way my family talks haven't felt in years. No angle, no ask. Midweek, Carla from the bank called. Update, she said. Joint store account is closed to new charges. Here's your payoff plan. Line of credit guarantee revoked. There will be a review. Car loan. 30 days for the primary to qualify or find a cosigner. Thank you, I said, and meant it like a real thanks, not the kind I give when someone hands me a problem. That night, Mom sent a paragraph about wolves and packs. You don't leave family in the snow, she wrote. I typed, deleted, typed again. I landed on the plain sentence I could live with. Love doesn't require debt. I won't carry yours. Send. There was a new silence after that, the kind where you hear your own life. I filled it with simple things. A call to my dispatcher to take one less weekend run, a trip to a hardware store to buy a decent lock for my apartment door because I finally planned to be there, a cheap gym membership with showers I like. Ethan showed up at my place once. He buzzed until a neighbor let him in. He knocked like the building owed him. I opened the door, but left the chain on. Open up, he said. We can talk like this, I said. He smirked. You think a chain stops family? It stops you. He rolled his eyes. Car's up in 2 weeks. They'll repo it. You'll ruin me over pride. Get a cheaper car, I said. Take the bus. Work near home. I have a son, he said, like a trump card. So did Dad, I said. He still worked, and he didn't add Grandpa to his cards. His face twitched. He went for pity. Just co-sign one last time. No. Say it nicer, he said, half laughing. I won't, I said, and I won't explain it again. He leaned in close to the chain. You'll regret this. I didn't flinch. Better than living as a wallet. He laughed without humor, called me something small, and left. His footsteps on the stairs sounded like a kid sneaking out. 2 days later, Dad texted. Proud of you. Don't tell your mother I said that. I stared at it a long time. I wrote thanks. He replied with a thumbs up. It was tiny, but it was something true in a house where truth is usually edited for feelings. The notices started hitting Ethan. He forwarded screenshots to me with fix this. I didn't reply. He tried one more trick, a photo of Max holding a paper that said, I miss you. I stared at it until my eyes went hot. I put my phone down. I said out loud in the cab, I miss you too, buddy. Then I said the sentence that kept me steady. Your dad can fix this. Not me. On my next reset, I drove to a lake and sat on a bench. No headphones, no alerts, just ducks, and the weird piece of a Saturday without urgent in it. I wrote a new list in my pocket notebook. Tires next quarter, dental check, a day trip with no miles, normal quiet things. The group chat finally slowed. A cousin asked, "What happened?" Mom replied, "She abandoned us." Ethan liked it. Of course he did. I looked at the word abandoned and realized it used to scare me. Now it felt like an empty box. I don't live in boxes Ethan labels anymore. I live in a cab with my name on the door and an apartment with a lock that clicks. A month later, the car loan deadline hit. Ethan texted, "They said no, one last chance, please." I typed, erased. I wrote, "I believe you can figure it out." Not sarcasm, a handoff. Responsibility has to be carried by the person it belongs to. He sent a skull emoji, then nothing. Mom sends articles now. Sisters who forgive. Prodigal links with captions like "a good woman doesn't keep score." I don't click. Dad sends 2-word check-ins. "You good?" I reply, "Good." He answers, "Okay." It's not a Hallmark card, it's clean. I haven't seen Max. That part hurts. I bought him a pack of dinosaur socks on impulse and stuck them in a drawer. I won't mail them with a note Ethan can twist. I'm saving them for the day Max is old enough to hear a plain version. Maybe at a park. Maybe in the back booth of a diner off the highway. Me with a coffee, him with a milkshake. I'll say, "Your dad and I grew up in a house where help meant you handle my consequences." I'll stop. I never stopped loving you. I used to think closure was a big speech and a door slam. For me, it looked like forms, stamps, and a week of saying no in ways that finally counted. It looked like not answering at 1 a.m. It looked like taking a walk by a lake and learning how silence sounds when it's not punishment. I still drive. I still back into tight docks in the rain. I still wave at kids who pump their arms from back seats for a horn blast. I give it to them long and happy. I still keep a notebook of miles and fuel, but I added a page at the back with a different kind of ledger on it. I wrote, "My money is mine. My name is mine. My time is mine." No is a full sentence. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I read it at truck stops sometimes. Not because I forget, but because the old script still whispers, "Be useful or be nothing." That script gave me knots in my shoulders and a credit score that lived in fear. The new script is simple. Be honest. Pay your own bills. Let other people pay theirs. If my mother ever says, "We miss you," I'll listen. If she says, "We're ready to stop using you," I'll show up at the kitchen table with coffee and no bitterness. Boundaries aren't a wall. They're a door with a lock and rules. People are welcome when they knock and wipe their feet. This isn't a revenge story. Nobody went to jail. Nobody went viral. It's the story of a truck driver who finally parked the load that wasn't hers. It's about choosing clean floors over sticky jokes. It's about looking at a 5-year-old parrot a line and deciding the echo stops with me. My name is Emily. I'm 33. I drive a rig with my name on the manifest and my hands on the wheel. My phone is quieter, my sleep is longer, my boot is clean. And when someone tosses my piece of cake on the floor, I don't eat it. I go buy my own cake. I sit in my cab and enjoy it with black coffee while the sun comes up over a calm, empty highway.